The grand arena of Velther Prime was electric. Thousands of spectators from every corner of the Galactic Federation packed the crystalline seats, their voices a deafening roar. In the center of the combat circle, Champion Crexter stood, a mountain of muscle and reptilian scales, his forearms each capable of crushing titanium, flexed in sequence, shimmering under the arena lights. He was the undefeated, the pride of his species, and he was soaking in the adoration. Across 50 feet of polished durasteel floor stood his challenger, Captain Maya Rodriguez of the Human Expeditionary Force. She seemed impossibly small against the 8-foot champion. Her plain combat gear was a universe away from Crexter's ornate, menacing armor plates. A booming voice, amplified by Crexter's translator, echoed across the arena. "This is your challenger." His mandibles clicked, a clear sign of amusement. "The humans send a female, one who barely reaches my chest plates." Maya remained silent. She simply settled into her stance, feet shoulder-width apart, knees slightly bent. Her hands rose into a guard that looked almost casual, almost relaxed. The Veltorian champion began to circle her slowly, a predator sizing up its prey. He gestured mockingly with all 4 arms. "Look at her stance. She plants herself like a decorative tree. On my world, we learn to move, to flow like the hunting winds." To prove his point, he launched into an elaborate series of leaping strikes at the empty air, a dizzying display of speed and agility. The crowd went wild, chanting his name. In the VIP section, a spider-like diplomat named Ambassador Quelix leaned toward his human counterpart, Ambassador Chun. "Perhaps you should reconsider this exhibition match," Quelix whispered, his multiple eyes wide with concern. "Crexter has never been defeated in single combat. Your officer's reputation." Ambassador Chun simply smiled. "Just watch," she replied softly. Down in the arena, Crexter finished his theatrical performance. He sneered at Maya. "The human doesn't even dance. She stands there like prey that has accepted death." He pointed 2 of his powerful arms directly at her, his laughter bouncing off the arena walls. "Perhaps we should call this off before you embarrass your entire species." He never finished the sentence. Crexter lunged. He moved with blinding speed, a blur of scales and steel. All 4 arms extended in a devastating attack pattern that had ended countless battles before they could truly begin. He closed the 50-foot gap in less than a second, fully expecting the human to try a desperate dodge or a futile retreat. But Maya's feet didn't move. Not an inch. Her body, however, did. It was a minimal rotation of her hips, a subtle shift of weight that Thor's own combat computers would later calculate as less than 3 inches of total movement. His primary strike arm came whistling in. Maya's left hand swept up in a tight, efficient arc, deflecting it just enough. Simultaneously, her right hand met his secondary strike, not to block it, but to guide it, using his own incredible momentum against him. Then came the pivot. Still routed to her original spot, Maya rotated her torso, her hands now gripping 2 of Crexter's wrists. The colossal champion, a moment ago the epitome of power, suddenly found himself overextended, his center of gravity catastrophically compromised. His warrior instincts screamed that something was terribly wrong, but it was already too late. Maya executed a technique her old instructor had called entering the void, a principle of using minimal movement to create maximum, devastating effect. She took a single step forward, amid a 6-inch. A sharp, sickening crack echoed through the sudden silence of the arena. Crexter's secondary right arm bent at an angle it was never meant to bend. His roar of pain was mixed with utter disbelief as he found himself airborne, flipped completely over Maya's seemingly immovable position. He crashed onto the durasteel floor with enough force to leave a visible dent in the metal. Maya released his arms and stepped back, returning to her original stance. Her feet landed in the exact same spots they had occupied before the exchange. The entire world-shattering sequence had taken less than 3 seconds. Crexter struggled to rise, cradling his broken arm, his other limbs shaking uncontrollably. "Impossible," he wheezed, his voice raw. "You didn't move." "You didn't. I moved plenty," Maya said quietly, her voice carrying easily in the stunned silence. "You just weren't watching the right things." Up in the VIP section, Ambassador Quelix's 6 eyes, were wide with shock, practically bulging from his head. What fighting system is that?" he stammered. Ambassador Chun chuckled, a sound of pure satisfaction. "Aikido, mostly, with some judo principles thrown in. Humans have been perfecting the art of using an opponent's strength against them for thousands of years. We learned a long time ago that the strongest stance isn't always the one that moves the most." Later, in the arena's medical bay, Veltorian doctors worked frantically on their fallen champion while reviewing the combat footage on a large screen. They played it back, frame by painstaking frame, analyzing Maya's movements. They saw the minimal shifts in weight, the perfect, precise timing, the almost magical way she had transformed Krexter's superior strength into his own undoing. She used leverage. One doctor muttered in awe, pointing at the screen. Pure physics. His mass, his speed, his strength, all of it, became weapons against him. And she never moved her feet. Another added, shaking his head, still unable to fully process what they had witnessed. It's like she was anchored to the planet. Word of the match spread across the Federation like a shockwave. The story was told and retold in 1,000 different languages on 100 different worlds. The human who had defeated the undefeated champion without ever leaving her position. She became an instant legend. Combat instructors from 12 different species began sending urgent requests to study under human martial arts masters, eager to learn the secrets of this unbelievable victory. As for Captain Maya Rodriguez, she returned to her ship, the Heffendurance, and continued her mission, a little bemused by all the sudden attention. To her, it wasn't a miracle. She had simply done what her sensei had taught her years ago, back in a quiet dojo on Earth. She remembered his words clearly. The strongest tree in the storm is not the one that bends the most, but the one with the deepest roots. In the vast, chaotic theater of the galaxy, humanity had proven once again that they understood a fundamental, powerful truth. Sometimes, the greatest strength isn't found in spectacular movement or overwhelming force, but in knowing exactly when to remain perfectly, devastatingly still. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this story, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you never miss another one.